This is just a quick video to address a question that comes up quite frequently, and it relates to the connectors used in Altair 8800 computers and similar. These are the connectors that it plugs into, and there are two basic types of these connectors that are available. There's the blue ones, which are the original Altair, and then these alternatives. Either one will work. It depends really on whether you want an authentic look to the machine, or if you're happy to just use a working backplane. Once they're installed, it's very difficult to tell them apart. The main difference is that the black one is taller. So you'll see that it's about 3mm or so taller than the blue one, but it will work just fine. There's plenty of space in the Altairs to use either one. But of course, for anyone wanting the authentic look, then the blue one is the one to go for. Unfortunately, the blue ones are quite rare, quite hard to get hold of, whereas the black ones tend to be popping up on eBay and other places, and they are fairly cheap. They're generally only available as new old stock, so you might find it a little bit tricky to solder in because the pins might have a very slight coating of corrosion on them. Nothing serious, but you might need to use some flux or something to use them. Now, because they are quite difficult to get hold of, I've actually produced or had manufactured quite a large number of the original Altair type connectors. Despite having had quite a significant number made, they are still more expensive than the cheaper alternative. But if you want the genuine thing, then I can now supply these. But the important thing to bear in mind is that they're not interchangeable on a particular board. So, for example, this is the board that I supply that suits the wider pitch, and this is the board I supply that suits the narrower pitch. But they're not interchangeable. The boards are not the same, although once they're assembled they are electrically identical to each other. So the two types of connectors, let's get these boards out of the way. The original Altair connector uses pins that are on a 0.125 inch pitch. So the pins along each row are 0.125 inches apart, but the row spacing is 0.140 inch. I've seen comments that the original Altair connectors used a row spacing of 0.125 inch, but that's incorrect. It should be 0.140. You might get away with being able to push one of these connectors into a board with a 0.125 inch row pitch if that's what you've had made, as long as the holes are big enough, but the correct spacing should be 0.140. The alternative connector, however, has the same pin pitch. They're still 0.125 inches apart, but the row pitch, as you can probably see, is significantly wider, and that is 0.250 inches. You can see it more clearly if I put the two side by side. You can see that the blue one is significantly narrower than the black one. So you can use either one as long as your boards are made to suit the particular connector that you have. To avoid confusion, I normally only supply the black connectors on a fully populated board, and that's just to make sure that somebody doesn't buy the boards or a bare board like this when they have these connectors, because obviously they won't fit. So the bare boards I sell assume that you have the original Altair connectors. If you do have these connectors and you need a bare board, then let me know and I can supply the board that suits, but I only supply 4 slot boards in that form. I do have an 18 slot motherboard that's available, but that only accepts the genuine Altair connectors, and this is made identical to the original Altair 18 slot motherboard. But as I say, you cannot fit the black connectors in this board. These won't fit because the row spacing is narrower. So just bear that in mind. If you do have the black connector, you will need to get one of these boards instead. Okay, so I hope that made sense. We'll have a quick look inside an original Altair just to clarify the point and to see how the blue connectors should look inside a genuine machine. Okay, so this is looking inside a genuine Altair 8800. You can see the connectors we're talking about. This particular machine has an 18 slot motherboard, but this applies to whether you have an 18 slot motherboard or a smaller board if it uses the original Altair connectors. So you can see that this uses the blue type I was showing earlier, and the connectors that I supply are a good fit in these original Altair motherboards. If you have any questions relating to which board you may have or the connectors to use, then please drop me a comment.